I came home from work and my daughter was gone. That's it. That's the sentence that changed everything. I'm Chelsea, I'm a nurse, and what happened next, I still can't believe it's real. It was 11:03 in the morning. I'd just finished a 16-hour shift at the hospital. Double because we were short-staffed and because my bills don't pay themselves. My body was screaming for sleep, but I was looking forward to this. 2 hours of rest, then the whole afternoon with my 7-year-old, Aviana. Just us. That was the plan. I stepped inside and immediately knew something was off. The house smelled like weekend breakfast on a Tuesday. I could hear my mom's voice from somewhere deeper in the house, that bright, forced cheerfulness she uses when she's selling you something. Then I saw my sister Kelsey in the hallway, carrying flattened boxes. A ring light box propped against the wall. She looked up and smiled. Not a real smile. "Oh, you're home." Like I was interrupting. I didn't smile back. I walked straight past her to Aviana's room. I pushed open the door and my shoulder hit the frame. The room looked gutted. Aviana's bed stripped to the mattress. Her blanket, the one she refuses to sleep without, folded and shoved into a laundry basket. Her stuffed bunny turned to face the wall. The rug half rolled up. Her drawings gone from the walls. Painter's tape on the baseboards. A measuring tape across the floor. Stack of printed photos on the desk, all beige and white and adult. This wasn't cleaning. This was erasing. "Aviana?" I called out. Nothing. The closet door open. Her backpack gone. My hands went cold. I walked back to the hallway. Where is she? Kelsey blinked at me. Where's who? Where is my daughter? My mom's voice floated from the kitchen. Oh, honey, come in here. I didn't move. Where is Aviana? Footsteps. Then my mom appeared, wiping her hands on a dish towel. My dad behind her. Kelsey straightened beside me. Where is Aviana? I repeated. My mom smiled. Tight and bright. We voted. I stared at her. You what? We voted. You don't get a say. Everything went quiet except my heartbeat. You voted about what? My dad crossed his arms. It's been discussed. I let out a short laugh. No humor. You held a vote about my child. My mom's expression hardened. You're never here, Chelsea. You work all the time. I work because bills exist. Now where is she? Kelsey, casual as weather, she's with her dad. The air left my chest. With Wesley. My mom nodded. Where's she supposed to be? My 7-year-old barely knows him. He's still her father, my dad said. Biologically. That's all he is. My mom sighed. We had to make a decision. You're too close to it. I'm her mother. That's the perspective. Kelsey stepped forward like a real estate agent. And besides, we need that room. I work from home now. I need a studio. You can't film content with a child running around. I stared at her. You're turning her room into a studio. My mom said, we can't have a child in the house. It's disturbing. Disturbing. My daughter existing. My dad added, you can't take care of her anyway. You're always at work. So why are you acting shocked? Something cold and sharp settled into place inside me. I took a slow breath. Then I walked to the bathroom. Not running. Because if I stayed in that hallway one more second, I'd say something that would burn everything down. And I needed that fire for later. I locked the door. Stared at myself in the mirror. Work-worn face. Tired eyes. A woman who'd spent years being reasonable with unreasonable people. I breathed. In. Out. Then I unlocked the door and stepped back out. They were still talking. Still justifying. I walked toward them. Calm. Steady. And I said one sentence that made all three go pale. I want you out of my house within 30 days. All of you. The hallway went still. I could hear the refrigerator hum. My mom blinked like I'd announced I was moving to Mars. My dad's mouth opened and closed. Kelsey's smile shattered. What do you mean? My mom snapped. I didn't answer. I walked to my room. There's power in not explaining yourself to people who've never explained themselves to you. Their voices followed like gnats. That's not your house. That's ours. Don't speak to your parents like that. We made the difficult decision for you. I kept moving. Grabbed my bag, phone, keys. Pulled open my bottom drawer and took out the folder I'd been avoiding for years. The paperwork. The proof that what they called just a formality was legally binding. I slid it into my bag. Walked back out. They were waiting. I will send you legal papers shortly. I want you out. My mom froze. Real shock this time. My dad snapped. You can't do that. Kelsey's voice pitched up. Can she do that? I walked out the front door. No yelling. No scene. Just a clean exit. Behind me, I heard the scramble. That shift from smug certainty to panicked calculation. In the car, my hands were steady. My heart wasn't. I called Wesley. No answer. Voicemail. Of course. I drove anyway because sitting still meant spiraling. Why didn't he call me? Why weren't they answering? Why did my parents feel comfortable delivering my child like a package? I called again. Nothing. So I called his mother, Sandra. She picked up on the first ring. Voice cold. Chelsea. Do you know where Aviana is? My parents said she's with Wesley, but he isn't answering. Is she okay? She will stay with us. And you are not getting her back. I blinked. What? She's fine. But you are not getting her back. She hung up. Just like that. I turned the car around so fast my tires chirped. When I got to Sandra and Graham's house, I knocked like I was trying to knock the door down. Sandra opened it a few inches. Not welcoming. Where's Aviana? Sandra's eyes moved over me. Scrubs. Messy hair. Someone running on fumes. She didn't soften. She's here, and you're not getting her back. My stomach dropped. Excuse me? Your parents brought her. They said you knew. I didn't. I came home and she was gone. Sandra's gaze didn't move. They said you wanted her with Wesley. A humorless breath escaped. Wesley won't even answer his phone. Something flickered. Like his name was an old bruise. Behind her, a floorboard creaked. Her husband Graham appeared, arms crossed, measuring the situation. Is she okay? I asked. Sandra didn't hesitate. She's safe. Let me see her. Sandra's hand stayed on the door. I forced it down. Nurse mode. Controlled. I'm not here to debate. I'm here for my daughter. Sandra's eyes narrowed. You should have come with her. I didn't send her. My parents did. Behind my back. Silence. Calculation. Graham's gaze shifted. Then don't take my word. I pulled my phone out, screen facing her. Missed calls to Wesley. The call to Sandra. Timestamps. I called him. No answer. I called you. You hung up. Sandra didn't look long. But Graham did. I kept my voice low. Ask Aviana what she was told. Sandra's jaw tightened. Graham didn't move. Then he spoke, calm, almost bored. Was she upset when she arrived? Sandra's eyes flashed at him, but she answered. Yes. I nodded once. Then you already know something's wrong. The house behind them was too quiet. The kind that means someone small is sitting very still. Graham's eyes flicked past her shoulder, then back to me. Another beat. Then he shifted just enough to create space. Come in. I stepped inside and saw her. Aviana was sitting at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a cup like it was the only solid thing in the world. She looked small in a way that made everything inside me go still. Aviana. Her eyes lifted. She didn't run. Didn't smile. Just stared like she was waiting to see if I was real. I crossed the room and knelt beside her. Hi, baby. I wrapped my arms around her. She didn't hug back. Stayed stiff, arms at her sides, like she didn't trust the moment. My chest tightened. I pulled back to see her face. Her eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying the way kids usually cry. Like she'd already cried and run out of room. Then her voice came out small and broken. "Grandma said you didn't want me." My throat closed. I looked up at Sandra and Graham. They were watching from the doorway, waiting. I looked back at my daughter. "Honey," I said, voice shaking. She lied. Aviana's lip trembled. "She said you told them. She said you were tired of me." My eyes burned. "I came home and you weren't there. I was looking forward to spending the whole day with you. I drove here as fast as I could." Aviana's eyes searched mine. "You didn't tell them? You didn't tell them to bring me here because you don't want me?" "Never. Not in a million years." Her shoulders sagged. Then slowly, her arms lifted and wrapped around me. Cautious, but real. I held her like the world couldn't be trusted. Behind us, Sandra and Graham watched. Graham cleared his throat. "We thought you didn't want her," Sandra said stiffly. I didn't look up. "I do." Graham's voice came lower. "We don't approve of what Wesley is like. And when we believed a child was being handed over like she was unwanted, we were willing to take her without hesitation." Sandra nodded. "We weren't going to let her bounce around." I absorbed that. Not trust. Just information. I stood, hand on Aviana's shoulder. "I'm taking her." Sandra didn't argue. Graham didn't block the door. Aviana held my hand so tightly in the car it hurt. I let it hurt because it meant she was there. This wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. I didn't take Aviana back to the house. Not after what I'd seen. Not after what my mother told her. I drove us to a hotel. Beige walls. Neutral carpet. Emotionally forgettable. Perfect. Aviana climbed onto the bed with her shoes still on and stared at the TV without turning it on. I sat beside her. "Okay. New plan." She looked at me, wary. "Are we safe?" That question was a punch. I reached for her hand. "Yes. We're safe." Then I did what I do when everything falls apart. I handled it. I called work. Family emergency. I need time off. No one in a hospital asks for details when your voice sounds like that. "Take what you need," my charge nurse said. I hung up and looked at my daughter. The mother bear part of me, quiet too long under exhaustion and people-pleasing, stood up fully. Food. Bath. Clean pajamas. Warm drink. Her favorite show. My hand on her back while she tried to sleep. I didn't unload my rage on her. I just kept saying what mattered. "You're with me. I've got you. No one gets to move you around." She fell asleep curled against my side, afraid I'd disappear. When she was breathing evenly, I checked my phone. Missed calls. So many. Mom. Dad. Kelsey. Texts. Angry. Confused. Demanding. I didn't respond. Next morning, I called a law firm. 2 days later, I sat across from Mr. Collins in an office that smelled like coffee and polished wood. He had the calm face of someone who'd seen family chaos and didn't flinch. I slid the folder across his desk. He flipped through slowly, then looked up. "The house is legally yours." My lungs loosened. "You can absolutely evict them. I'll send the letters and start the process." I nodded once. "Do it." His pen moved. "They'll be angry." I let out a dry laugh. They were angry when they voted my daughter out. At least this time their anger comes with a legal stamp. Here's the thing nobody tells you about standing up to family. They'll act like you broke the rules. Like boundaries are betrayal. But let me tell you how this started. Because my parents didn't just wake up one day and decide to vote my kid out. This was years in the making. My sister Kelsey is 2 years younger. 2 years is nothing now. But in our house, it was a crown. Kelsey was the favorite. Not obviously. quietly, the way that lets them deny it later. Kelsey got praised for being special. I got praised for being helpful. If Kelsey cried, my mom moved like an alarm went off. If I cried, my dad said, "You're fine." So I learned to be fine, to be useful, to anticipate what they wanted before they said it. Fast forward to adulthood. I became a nurse. There's a problem, you address it. Someone's hurt, you help. You don't vote on whether they deserve care. Then I met Wesley. Charming, funny, easy, the kind who made you relax your guard. I got pregnant. Wesley went quiet, then said, flat and clear, "I don't want kids." I was young enough to think love could fix it. Old enough to know I wasn't ending my pregnancy because a man wanted to stay irresponsible. So I had Aviana. Wesley held her once. Briefly. Awkwardly. After that, he faded. He'd appear a few times a year, say, "Hey kiddo, take a photo," disappear. We never went to court. Because Wesley didn't believe in parenting. You can't negotiate custody with someone who treats involvement like an optional subscription. When Aviana was 5, I had a job that worked. Part-time. Predictable. The kind that lets a single mom do daycare pickup without sprinting. Money was tight. But Aviana was safe. I was present. Then I got offered the position nurses actually want. Better pay. Real career traction. The step up you don't get twice. The catch? Brutal hours. Sometimes doubles. The kind that looks great on paper and destroys your life without support. My first instinct was no. I mentioned it to my parents, just thinking out loud. That's when they did an emotional U-turn so fast it should have come with warning lights. Because before that, they weren't warm with Aviana. Not cruel. Just distant. Like she was a guest's child who might spill juice. They didn't care about my career either. So when my mom suddenly said, "You have to take it," I thought I'd misheard. "You can move in here. We'll help. We're retired. We can do childcare. You can't pass this up." My dad nodded. Kelsey said, "It's a one-time opportunity. You'd be stupid not to." It was suspicious. Then the reason surfaced. They were about to lose the house. Drowning in debt. About $68,000 in unsecured debt. Roughly $19,400 behind on mortgage and taxes. Their credit wrecked. Couldn't refinance. Couldn't borrow. Couldn't fix it. My stable, better-paying job? Their lifeline. They sat me down like a business pitch. "We need you to sign some things," my mom said. "What things?" "A loan. In your name." My stomach dropped. "No. It's temporary. We'll pay you back." Kelsey smiled. "Your credit is good. Ours is not." Then the part they tossed out like a minor detail. The house would need to be transferred into your name. Just for the paperwork. It's just a formality. A formality. They wanted me to take the liability, carry the debt, risk my future. And still keep the power. I didn't like it. Didn't trust it. But I couldn't watch them lose the house. And this is the part that still makes me angry at myself. I wanted to believe they meant the rest. The childcare. The "we love having Aviana here." So I said yes. I put in about $24,000 of my savings. Took on a monthly payment of about $23.50. In my name. The house was transferred. They called it a formality. At first, the deal held. They did childcare. I worked. Aviana adjusted. Then the paperwork cleared. The house was safe. Crisis over. And it was like the deal vanished. Suddenly I was dumping my child on them. My job was a bad choice. I was never here. Like they hadn't insisted I take the schedule. Kelsey complained most. About noise. Space. Needing a home office and studio. About content. Aviana became the problem. Too loud. Too present. Too inconvenient. My parents backed Kelsey like always. Comments started. There is a dad. Why isn't she with him more? You can't rely on us forever. I didn't take it seriously because Wesley wasn't a father in any real way. And I never believed my parents would actually do what they were hinting. I thought it was control, pressure, threats. Until I came home at 11:03 a.m. after a double in Aviana's room was being dismantled. And my mom said, we voted. 2 days later, Aviana was back at school. Not fine, but back in routine. I was at the hospital when I heard my name. Not a coworker, a demanding voice. I turned. There they were. My mom and dad, waving papers. The eviction documents. My mom's face red with fury. My dad chewing on anger. They marched up and started raising voices. Patients looked. Staff stiffened. Security paid attention. I stepped forward before it became a scene. 5 minutes. That's all you get. My mom hissed, oh, now you have limits. I led them to a side corridor. Close enough staff could see. Far enough my unit didn't have to watch. My dad shoved papers at me. Explain this. How dare you send lawyers after us? You scammed us. You stole our house. I blinked slowly. I stole it? Yes. You used a loophole. You planned this. You betrayed your parents. I kept my voice flat. Hospital calm. You begged me to do it. My mom scoffed. We never begged. You did. You were $68,000 in unsecured debt. $19,400 behind on mortgage and taxes. Couldn't refinance. Credit ruined. My dad's jaw tightened. I put in $24,000 of my savings. Took on a monthly payment of $23.50. In my name. I put my credit and future on the line. My mom's eyes flashed. And you're throwing that in our faces. No. I'm putting it back where it belongs. My dad stepped closer. We're your parents. I looked at him. Something settled. Clean. Final. You stopped being my parents the moment you voted my daughter out. My mom's voice rose. We made the difficult decision for you. You made it for yourselves. For Kelsey's studio. For your comfort. For control. My mom flinched. You dumped my child at Wesley's. You told her I didn't want her. My dad's eyes flicked away. You don't get access to Aviana. Not now. Not ever. You can't keep her from us. I can. And I will. Their voices climbed. Accusations. Panic. Rage. I stepped back and nodded to security now hovering. I'm done. You've used your 5 minutes. They were escorted out. Still shouting. But the roll was gone. I watched them disappear. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. Spine straight. Because power isn't loud. Power is leaving. They thought they could vote my daughter out. I decided to vote them out instead. A month later, they'd moved out. Actually gone. I took a new job at a clinic. Part-time. Stable hours. No doubles. The kind that fits motherhood. The house held too many memories. I rented it out. About $28.50 a month. Used the income to live comfortably on part-time work and pay for childcare when needed. Life got easier for a simple reason. They weren't draining my finances anymore. I went completely no contact. No calls. No texts. No checking in. I heard through relatives they were in a 2-bedroom rental. Kelsey's still there, freeloading, running her influencer hobby from her bedroom, living off their pension. Aviana recovered slowly, not in a straight line, but slowly, started sleeping through the night, laughing without checking my face first, trusting that home meant me. And the twist I didn't expect? I stayed in contact with Sandra and Graham. They didn't excuse Wesley. Didn't defend him. They showed up for Aviana, quietly, consistently. They visit every week now. Aviana actually enjoys it. So here's what I learned. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from. Sometimes standing up means walking away from people who share your DNA. And sometimes the family you build is better than the family you were born into. I don't regret kicking them out. Don't regret taking back my house. Don't regret cutting contact. Because at the end of the day, the only vote that mattered was mine. And I voted for my daughter. Thanks for listening, and if you like this story, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about standing up, setting boundaries, and choosing yourself when family fails you. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see your worth.